Bergeron, go ahead, fire away with questions.
When you look at Ferris State, they've lost Redmond and England are still off to a good start. From what you've seen, how have they been able to do that?
I just think they're, when we talk about a brand around here, we were talking about it a lot early, trying to establish what we want our brand to be with Bowling Green hockey. I just think Ferris State's brand is just, it's just so established, okay? Every kid that goes to Ferris State knows what they're going into. They know how that team wants to play. They're a team that plays extremely hard. They defend very well. That's why there's so many good goaltenders that go to Ferris. They do a great job recruiting goalies. They do a great job defending in front of that goalie. And then they're a team, as soon as you start to think they're only defensive, then all of a sudden they go the other way and score. So I just think it's because it's just, that brand is so established in what they're trying to do. It's just 1 year into the next. You know what you're going to get when you play Ferris State. And that is their best effort. A team that's going to be extremely hard for every inch of ice out there, extremely hard to score against, and they're a team, as soon as you start to think they're only defensive, then they put 2 or 3 goals by you because they've got offense and they've got talent as well. So, and they've got some defensemen that can get involved in the offense. So, there's lots of layers that I like about their team, but I just feel it's because that's what you get when you go to Ferris. You're going to get a team that plays a certain way, and this 2011-12 version is no different.
In terms of your team, even though the losses are disappointing, is it a step forward to be able to?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Kevin. I think when we sit and talk about the big picture, I don't see how you can say it's not, because I do think we're a better team now than we were last year at this time, or whether last week at this time. But it's still disappointing and frustrating that we're finding ways to lose hockey games versus finding ways to win. One of the things that I'm convinced of, and we as a staff are convinced of, is that the players feel the exact same way this year. I don't fault last year's team for not feeling the same way. I don't think they were totally understanding where I was coming from half the time anyway, which I'm sure is my fault. But I believe after the game on Saturday, this past Saturday, I didn't have to say anything. A couple of players stood up, said what they wanted to say, what was probably needed to say, and I talked to about when treatment was on Sunday and when practice was on Monday. There was no post-game remarks for me other than announcements, which to me says we're going in the right direction, because now the players expect to win games like that. They don't care we're playing Notre Dame. They don't care who we play against. Now, we give Notre Dame the credit. I mean, they went in the third period. I don't think they played their best game that night, and they found a way to win. That's what good teams do. We need to get there. But I do think that, to get back to your original question, the proof that change is happening and expectations are changing is that I see it in the players. They're the ones upset. They're the ones who can make a difference, and they're the ones that want to make a difference. When situations happen like happened this past weekend, where we played some decent hockey at times against a really good team and came out with nothing to show for it.
What on the ice have you been the most pleased with and the most disappointed in?
I'll start with disappointed. I really feel every game we've played so far comes down to 4 or 5 plays on either side of the puck, whether it be defensive plays, through a back check, through a defensive zone coverage, through a penalty kill. And then 4 or 5 offensive plays, whether it be a goal post, whether it be a power play that we don't get the job done. And we're finding a way to be on the negative side of those 8-10 plays. That's disappointing. The positive side is, we think we've added talent, we've added size, we've added some speed, but we still work as hard as we did last year. And that we're really pleased with that. I just think when you have a foundation of work like we have, and when people are saying to us, in particular your opponent, man, you guys compete hard. That to me is a good feather in the cap of these young men, that regardless of what's going on, we were down 2-0 to a pretty darn good team. I don't care if it's at home or not. And there was a sense and a will on our bench that we are going to make something good happen. And we did, and we just about made another good thing happen, hit a post, and so on and so on. That shoulda, woulda, coulda has to change. I get that. But there's a resiliency with this team. Maybe it's because of our youth. They don't know any better. But I think the sophomores are sick of it, and I think the freshmen aren't going to stand for it. Juniors and seniors, they're the same way. They're sick of it as well, and they're doing the best they can. But when you've got 15 freshmen and sophomore and 5 juniors and seniors in the lineup, you're looking at a certain group as your biggest number. That's the thing we've been most pleased with. We get the X's and O's piece. We like the fact that the foundation of work ethic hasn't changed, and yet we've improved our talent, we've improved our size specifically, we think we've improved our team speed specifically, and we're still playing the game the way it's supposed to be played, which is extremely hard, competing, focused. Now we just need to execute at that level, which is something that's that constant challenge.
Where do you feel you're at in terms of the penalties? Certainly you've had fewer penalties the last 2 weekends, but then you look at 2 bad penalties.
Yeah. It's a great point, Kevin. I think that our overall discipline is better, but I really feel like there's still some poor decisions being made by our guys at key times. We're taking hooking and interference and holding penalties. When you look at Friday and Saturday, midway through, late in the third, whatever it may be. Friday we took one to put us down 5-on-4, and then another one to put us down 5-on-3 in a 2-1 game. Saturday we're winning 2-1, and we take a hooking penalty or an interference penalty, whatever the call was, midway through the third, or a quarter of the way through the third, and they end up scoring. But they're just poor decisions on our part. They were 1 for 4 both nights, or 1 for 4 Saturday, 2 for 5 Friday, something like that. So you're taking 3 or 4 penalties a game. We're not disappointed with that number. It's just the penalties we're taking at certain times are just killing us. And again, I put that in the 4 or 5 plays category. That's a play that is a defensive play that we shouldn't be taking a penalty on. We should be defending, communicating, defend the way we want to defend, but not taking a penalty on. So it's that play as well. And then on the other side of things, Notre Dame took 2 penalties in the third period at 3-2, and we couldn't get anything going on the power play. So, I look at that penalties both sides. We're not, making great decisions at really important times of the game right now. And we're not taking advantage of the hard work to create a penalty. So we have a power play. We're not taking advantage of that either. So again, we're on the negative side of both those situations. 2 are separate situations, but we're ending up on the wrong side all the time. We're too much of the time.
I think if my numbers are right, the top 6 forwards have scored 12 to 17 goals. They've got the majority of the shots. Would you like to see more out of the bottom 2 lines?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've done the most juggling with those 2 lines, so maybe it's more on us because it's really been difficult for those guys to have chemistry and that comfort level. But when they're not being successful, that's all we know what to do is to change it up a little bit and give other guys an opportunity. And for example, we put Ryan Vaselli in the lineup Saturday night, and he scored a goal, and I thought he brought some real good energy. It's the Ryan that we remember from last year, just as an example. I thought McIntosh went in on Saturday and brought some energy. Would we like them chipping in with goals? Sure, and that's more difficult to control. And those bottom 6 guys don't get a chance on the power play. I know our power play hasn't been outstanding to where all the points are coming from the power play, but the top 6 guys have had more chances in odd man situations with the power play. So we always would like that. I think, again, it's a strength of a team like a Notre Dame, that the depth where the winning goal on Saturday was Patrick Gall, who on the depth chart is a 4th line center. I'm not necessarily saying that's what he is, but that's the way on the depth chart. We need our people to step up in those situations, and we've got players. There's no reason they can't. They're trying. They're working. We just we need them to chip in.
And even aside from the scoring, it just seemed like Ryan and McIntosh really brought some energy, like you said, and they seem to be more, 3rd and 4th line seem to be more involved.
Yeah, I agree totally. If Cam is our number 1 line or number 1A line, and Carp is 1B or whatever, You know, you need those other people because, you know, that's just the way we can't, people start to focus on certain individuals and then shut them down, and we need other guys to step up. And I did think in both of those particular cases with James and Ryan, they both brought energy to us on Saturday when we needed it, and it was a nice boost to the lineup. Now their challenge is to stay at that level, and the other guy's challenge who were taken out is to get back to a certain level where they're bringing that energy to the lineup, and that's when you've got that good competition and depth in your lineup, and that's what we're hoping for.
Injury update, maybe start with Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus is, it's not getting much better. You know, he hasn't skated yet this week, and when he has, it's been, you know, frustrating for him. I don't think he's getting healthy quick enough for this weekend, but who knows. Ted Plutch has kind of re-aggravated a knee injury that he's had for a while. Other than that, it's just bumps and bruises. It really is. I mean, it seems like we've got a whole crew sitting up there watching practice, but you know, with Rodriguez there and those two guys, so it's just kind of, you know, quarter of the season bumps and bruises.
So,
I'm good.
Everybody good?
I'm good.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.